have a story that was written by Samuel Tolbert of WindowsCentral.com. This was posted on March 13th, 2025. And it has me very excited because I think that if there is one game that people are still talking about weeks and weeks after its release, it's Avowed. It's a game that has everyone still talking. People are still playing it. I talked to a couple of people that I can't, expose who they are that have told me that it's doing very well. As a matter of fact, I've been told that it's doing better than anticipated in regards to players, in regards to sales. That is awesome. Obviously, we want to see a sequel. We want to see, hopefully, they add some expansions because that wasn't a part of the original plan. Crispy, we might actually get some new information. And here is what the story from Sam Tolbert has to say. Avowed's update brings more bug fixes and a third-person field of view slider to the Xbox RPG, while a roadmap is coming soon. And according to the story, another update has arrived. And yes, check your settings, folks. You should have seen the automatic update. I think it happened on Thursday or Friday. And it has changed a bit of the field of view sliders. Now, according to Jamie Moran, who's playing it in third person, you can move the sliders. I think he did a 90-70 split, and it brings the character much closer. Kind of, not as close, but kind of close, like Resident Evil 4 close, where it's kind of like an over-the-shoulder kind of experience. For me personally, I did not like the third person view before understanding that you could change it, because the character was a little bit too further in front of me for the third person. So it kind of sometimes felt like he was floating and not actually like running. And now this kind of changes that. So I'm very excited. But the article goes on to say, in addition to fixing a number of errors that could potentially occur for different quests, patch 1.3.0 adds a field of view slider for a third-person mode, letting players further adjust their visual parameters. Now, looking ahead, this is where it gets interesting, Crispy. Obsidian is also putting together a roadmap for the next quote-unquote few weeks to share what else the studio has planned for the game in 2025. Now, here again, these are some of the community requested features that they have adjusted. And I'm not going to go through all of them. Just for a few for context. It says the player will now receive an additional talent point at levels 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. Players with save files past those levels will receive additional points. High contrast documents. That's one of the things that a lot of people complain about, that the documents that you find weren't pronounced enough. And now they've added some contrast to it. They've added some camera and compass options, third-person field of, we just talked about the field of view slider. They have added some additional graphic settings. And, of course, they addressed quests and dialogue issues. They fixed a bunch of them. Crashes and some major issues. They also addressed all of those. But, again, Crispy, what has me super excited is, seeing and watching some of the interviews that went on. One of the things that were not in the cards was getting some DLC for this, getting additional, story that we didn't expect. Again, it's I don't want it to be a one and done. For me personally, I love this game so much that I want a new game plus, and I want to play it on a harder level. And when that new game plus finally arrives, I'm going to start it up. Even if I'm playing through Assassin's Creed, I can probably play both and enjoy it just the same. But what has me excited is, I think, right, it's Carrie Patel. When she was interviewed, came right out and said that there were no plans for additional content I think that this game's success, popularity, and the gamers going out there and speaking like we're talking right now, how excited we are for this game. I don't want to have to wait for the sequel. And I think Obsidian knows that. Now, I don't know if obviously it wasn't in the cards, Crispy. We don't know if there's any story that was removed for time, right? We don't know if there was anything removed for size and scope and scale. But I can say with full authority that if they announce in the next couple of weeks that this is getting additional DLC in the form of new quests, of new things that we don't have to really wait for, and that at some point there's going to be an expansion that's not the sequel, that's just an expansion to the Living Lands, is going to get me very excited. I know that you're still early. I understand you're still building the lore, you're still building the character, but you've enjoyed it enough that even when you were having a difficult time getting past that stupid ass bear, you said, you know what? I'm going to do it. And now you're still playing. Let's get your thoughts on the report that we could get a roadmap in the next couple of weeks. And that roadmap could, in fact, include maybe an expansion that wasn't originally planned.
I'll be honest, like, I changed the slider. I mean, it's there now. Like, you can do it yourself. Just change the slider, and I went to like 75% on the third person view, and it completely changed the dynamic of the game. The one thing that Obsidian is good at is bringing a game to gamers. They don't, I feel like, especially with Grounded, I mean, look at how Grounded transpired. It was preview, it was all these other things. Like, really think about it. It's kind of egregious now after looking back at the success that Grounded has had.
Yeah,
to go and say that, okay, you they're not able to put you in first or third person. No, they're fully capable. I think they have an opportunity because I feel like the Living Lands, or just, Obsidian doing what they do. What have I always said? I want an option for all games to be third or first person. I want all of it. Halo, I guarantee I'd mess some people up in Halo if it was third person. I will guarantee it, because the field of view for myself, being blind in my right eye, would be much better. That's the way I roll. That's why I said what I said a couple weeks ago when we were talking about this bear. Well, it was like more like, a little over a week. The point is that I'm not going to first person. I don't like first person. I just don't. And it's because I can't see out of my right eye. It's all my left eye. All right. Like, it makes total sense to, contribute to the third person view while contributing to what, I mean, like I said to you, Boom, it looks like I should play it first person, but I just, my right eye, no. Go off and drift. I'm legally blind in my right eye. I have astigmatism, and it's also a lazy eye. It does nothing for me. I have 20/150 vision. Okay, so 20 is in my left eye, 150 is in my right eye. Okay, like it's not an option. So that's where I took my stance. And like, I love that you guys were like, oh, this is, he's just taking a stand. No. It's just facts. So I look at this and I say, okay, like, you have these options that you're putting out there. That's awesome. It's for me. It's not necessarily for you. Like, everybody, could have 20/20 vision. That's awesome. The fact is like, you want new options. So New Game Plus, all these other things. You want to be able to go through the game again. You want to be able to do what you want. That's what we call an RPG, by the way, people. Like, like they give you new things, you do it. Like, I level up, I get all my levels, but still the game's harder. Like, we love that aspect because if we love the game, we love the game. That's what we love. You know what I mean? Like, it's like how many times I go back to Fallout or I go back to Gears or something like that. And I have level ups in some way, shape, or form, whether it be multiplayer, single player. And I just enjoy that. And I think that's been lost in a way because, like, a lot of times, like, all those things are completely charged to you. So, like, if you're a Game Pass subscriber, I would expect that Avowed's New Game Plus and all of that, development is going to be yours. And if not, well, then we're going to have a problem. But I think a lot of people ignore the fact that it's Obsidian. They've given you this. They have done this. They have done things that many other gaming companies wouldn't. Now they're a part of Microsoft. I don't think they've changed. Anybody else think? I don't think they have. And I think they saw that, hey, this game is very popular, PC and Xbox. You know what? We have an opportunity. And let's say, Phil is the end all be all. Oh, you know what? You guys, hey, we sold this amount and, they have way more data than we're going to have. And also the engagement on Game Pass, which we really care about, which I think a lot of people ignore. Microsoft cares about that Game Pass. Trust me, because it's a continuous revenue. All right. A lot of people, continuous revenue. Oh, buy a game at $70 or pay $20 a month for how many amount of time until no end for some of us and get game after game after game. But that funds the development and then selling it on PlayStation by all means. And that's the way I look at it. So Avowed, like, yeah, it's going to get a New Game Plus and it's going to get people amped up again. Because, I mean, how many times I've seen that about Helldivers, right? Like, let's be honest, like, it's a single player game. But if you give somebody that loves the game more, okay, like, think about that. And they're subscribed. So, like, let's say, like, I uninstall, I reinstall. Guess what? I'm able to do that. Like, I don't have to pay again. I don't have to do anything crazy. I just, uninstall and reinstall. If I need space in my Xbox, that's it. That's all it is. If you're subscribed to Game Pass Ultimate, that's what you get. You go to PC, you can play it on there. I mean, the game on my TV, and that's where I say my TV, it looks absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
For what I thought it was going to be. Because, like, what I thought was going to be like something not even close, but it's rivaling at times like Gears 5, which, I'm talking visually, I'm not talking story or anything else. Visually, it looked incredible. And I continue to be enamored in what I see from the game because it just throws stuff at you. And this is where I say, like, you got the right formula, Xbox. You have it. You have it in you great at RPGs. You have them all. You basically have them all. Okay, Western RPGs. Yeah, you are the kings right now. I mean, In Exile, Obsidian, Bethesda. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. So
winner, chicken dinner, brother.
Let's be honest. But those games require feedback. Like Fallout 76 is still going, Boom.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like, seriously. And I haven't played that game. I'm going to be completely honest. But at the same time, I see a lot of TikToks and shit like that where I'm like, man, I should probably try that game because it's totally different than when it started. And that's called support. And
Yep.
called it's like CD Project Red and what they do. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why all of a sudden like people forget like they got like a lot of devs from CD Project Red. People forget that. This is the point. Like I love their direction, and if the game is successful, maybe they didn't think it was going to be. Keep going, keep doing the right thing, keep advancing gaming in the way you want. And like I said, the combat in Avowed is, I mean, I've experienced like Halo 2 with the dual wielding and stuff like that. This is on a different level, man. The combat in this game is like just so like it's like taking Gears and Halo with a dual wielding Halo 2 and combining it and being able to switch like total like weapon sets and everything else. I don't know. Like I'm going to be playing this game for a long time. Am I going to beat it anytime soon? I'll say no, but I love what they're doing with this game.
You know what? I mean, again, you keep going back to it, even though you had a difficult time, specifically because you kind of went off. You went in a further path. You weren't supposed to be there, which is why I took my time. As like I said, when I got to that bear, I was level 5. Fuzzy, we got to bring you in. Now, I have a specific quote here, literally from the forums.obsidian.net. I pulled this from Reddit. This is what it had to say, and this goes to show you how committed Obsidian is to Avowed and why I do believe, Fuzzy, we are going to get some additional DLC in one form or another. This is what they had to say on the forums. Obsidian on Avowed. Our team, and I quote, folks, our team is committed to ongoing support. Within the next few weeks, we are going to be releasing a roadmap that will go over some of the plans that we have that will be coming to the game over the upcoming year. Now, not updates that will be coming for the next couple of weeks or months, for the remainder of the year. Mm-hmm. And again, when we were watching the interviews and people specifically asked and called out, hey, are there any planned expansions? Originally, there weren't. Now, this game is pretty big. Now, I don't know. I can't speak for anyone else. Obviously, we had a super chat where the guy beat it in 85 hours. I have even more than that. I have well over 100 hours. In fact, I'll check in a second exactly how many days I have playing this game. And every second of it, I loved it. Even after I beat the game, and I reloaded that save and tried a different path, and I got a different ending, which was really dope. But this game, shout out to Pong Soul. I think you might know who he is, Fuzzy Belvedere.
Yeah.
He got an achievement for lying, and it said that the amount of people that have gotten this achievement, check this out, folks, was 0.73%, under 1%. And of course, he is the worst. Pong Soul is the absolute guy that you do not want to run into if you are a normal human in any of these games, because he is going to rob and destroy you. He was like that. He killed anything that moved in his playthroughs in Starfield, and he's just as big as an a-hole. Not in real life, but as a virtual guy, he's an a-hole. And of course, he called me a goody two-shoes for not getting that achievement, which of course
I agree with Pong. I'm just saying.
There you go. I mean, it's fine. I am a goody two-shoes. It's okay. But look, again, this game is weeks old. It should have cooled down, and it hasn't. People are not only still playing, people are still discovering new weapons and new combos and new Gilmore books to discover with different magics. There's all kinds of hidden things. Again, folks, I say this with my heart on my sleeve. The more you give to this game, the more Avowed will give to you as a player. And of course, now we know that we're going to have a roadmap. Now, again, is DLC or expansions a part of this roadmap? Well, they don't specifically go into it, but I would imagine that with the popularity of this game and it, again, according to my source, doing way better than they expected, I think, again, Crispy said it, it's Obsidian. Why wouldn't they want to make expansions? And they did make expansions for the Outer Worlds, right? They do have expansions planned for the Outer Worlds too.
Yeah.
I would imagine that they could, and again, I'm not saying it's going to release this year, but they could get to work on expansions that further the story, whether it be before the ending or after the ending in the Living Lands. And there's still, in my opinion, a lot of story to be told. Let's get your thoughts on that.
Well, I'll start off by saying I love how Xbox Studios or just anything under Microsoft Gaming continues to support their games after their release. Like whether it's, additional content, expansions, DLC, season passes, whatever you want to point out, they always support their games after the launch. And considering how Obsidian has been, even with Grounded, they were continuously, although when it was in early access, it was more so like a work in progress. So they were adding as they went. But I've seen it with a lot of Obsidian games where they continue to add things even after the fact, whether it is a new game plus or something along those lines. They're always listening to their fan base or their player base and trying their best to incorporate some of those ideas or the feedback that they're getting into any updates, patches, or expansions in general. So the new game plus, I think, is probably the high thing on the list, like a upping of the level cap. We will probably still have more weapons. Like I know that there's a few people, one person in particular, that's doing a strictly melee build with fists. No mace or anything like that. Just using their fists. Dude. And they're definitely making it a little bit harder on themselves going that route, but there is that possibility to do that. Now, I think they're at like level 13 or 14, where it is getting a lot harder doing the melee only or fist only, combat version. But yeah, I believe they're waiting for, well, not waiting, but they're looking to see if some of those other secrets that like people keep on finding, either different weapons or different approaches to different areas of the map and stuff like that. I think they're waiting a little bit to see if more people discover a few more things before either they have something that will help point out those secrets for those that are fine with that. Like not something they'll automatically point it out, but like if you want stuff to be highlighted more or possibly your companions point out more of a directive to, hey, maybe you should try this kind of thing. I could see them adding those things, but keeping the base game, where you don't have those things started or checked off. You can probably, play it like in its current form and stuff. But an expansion would be nice. Considering the Pillars of Eternity lore, I definitely want to see more of that as far as this story and the future expansions that they may do with this game. Like considering, you can't kill everybody you encounter, but there are some people that I've wound up killing because they were giving me lip or whatever. I'm wondering if there are times where maybe there's a future story that I missed out on because of it, because anytime they're like, well, you can't go past here and, either turn back or face the sword. And it's like, wait, I'm the warrior. Wait, did you just threaten me? It's like, and I'll usually I'll do the response where I'm either staring at them like I'm about to kill them. And then their partner's like, dude, he looks serious. I don't know if we should go this route. And then they wind up running away and their boss gets murdered. But I could totally see them either adding more characters into this as well, or maybe some more side quests or side stories that make it easier for maybe some of those hidden areas to be kind of stumbled upon kind of thing. But this game, especially hearing that it's done better than expected, I'm pretty sure they have a contingency plan for updating or upcoming stuff. And then the sequel is probably the bigger thing. I think this is all giving them notes and feedback on what to have in the sequel, like just like they are doing with Outer Worlds 2, making it a bigger game in comparison. I think that was the thing that people were looking more for as far as that, but just the different options for endings and such, I think is going to be the big thing. And maybe they add more endings, or maybe they have it where after the endings, there's some more side quests that kind of button up some things at the end as well. But this game, I need to get back to it definitely before South of Midnight comes out. But yeah, I've been enjoying the half magic and half brute force with the sword and shield type of setup that I have on my character now. At some point, I definitely need to try the pistols or the rifle type of deal. But that I'll save that for New Game Plus.